Good morning. This is Steve Stierwalt. I want to do a short podcast for those of you who weren't able to make it summer conference and try to hit some of the highlights. Well, a year has passed, and looking back where we were a year ago, we were, in my estimation, we were definitely on the defensive. Through no one's in particular's fault, we were without funding for 2 years. Funding was suspended. We'd been hearing from our partners asking for change. Not very specific about that, but they wanted change. And without funding for 2 years, we were losing very valuable staff at an alarming rate, and our capacity to get work done was being greatly diminished, practically by the day. So at last summer conference, I give the delegates credit that they wanted to not just allow things to continue in the direction they were going. They wanted change. They wanted us to reevaluate what we were about and what we were doing. And so the way they suggested we do that is by doing a strategic plan, not just for the state association, but a strategic plan that would set direction for we as 97 districts. Well, here we are 1 year later. And so with the direction of the delegates, we set upon the path of trying to get a strategic plan done. The first thing we did was to raise funds to do the strategic plan. And because of many partners who contributed money, we had almost enough money to get the strategic plan paid for. And we worked a lot of hard work by district leaders all across the state. We now have a strategic plan that passed almost unanimously. The plan calls for clean water and healthy soils to be our mission. Everything else in this plan is designed to help accomplish that mission. So another thing that was identified as we were going through this strategic planning process was leadership. We need to make a major emphasis on leadership. The strategic plan is based on the principle that earning a leadership role will be necessary for us to accomplish this mission of clean water and healthy soils. So if you haven't had an opportunity to read the plan, please try to find the time to do so. There's a lot of information that will give you insights on why we're trying to do some of the things that we're doing. Implementation. One of my biggest fears, as so many people worked so many hours to develop what I feel is a very good plan, is that we don't make the necessary commitment to actually implement the plan. So that's what I want to talk about right now, if I may. The plan as presented at summer conference does not have all the implementation parts in it. The idea was to make sure that the delegates agreed with the direction that we were suggesting in the plan that we as 97 districts should go, and some of the basic tenets of the strategic plan. Once the delegates agree to that, then we would finish up the implementation parts of the plan that put timelines and who's going to do what by when. But the delegates, what we talked, we didn't want to wait for another year before we actually start implementing this plan. And so I give the delegates credit that they wanted to push ahead, and some of the more obvious parts of the plan became resolutions. And there's 3 resolutions that were passed at summer conference. One has to do with foundation. 2017-2 has to do with making water quality our top priority. And number 3 is director employee training. Well, for obvious reasons, funding was one of the major points that came out of the strategic plan. And trying to diversify our funding sources. I think we all learned from 2 years of being suspended that having basically all our eggs in one basket when it comes to funding can be treacherous. And so one of the ideas as to try to help diversify funding was to make substantial changes to the State Association's foundation. The resolution 2017-1 directs the president to appoint a task force that will change our existing passive foundation, one that only waits for funds to come in, into an active foundation that will build relationships with potential partners and actively solicit funds to help districts accomplish their agreed to mission. So our old foundation, which has been in place for a long time, we never really used it to go after funds to try to actually target foundations that may have money or other organizations. So in this resolution, the directors have made it policy that the delegates have made it policy that we change that and actually go out and try to find funds to help districts accomplish their local plan. Resolution 2017-2 has to do with water quality. Through the strategic planning process, one of the things we learned, and again, districts are so good at doing so many things, sometimes it's hard to tell our story. When we kind of get bogged down in, well, we do this, we do that, and don't really hang our hat, shall we say, on something that people will talk about. You need your elevator message. So in 30 seconds, you need to be able to tell people what it is you are about. What is our story? What are we about statewide? And so that is where this resolution kind of came from, for one thing. Being able to say that we are setting a priority on water quality, that is what we want to be known for. When we talk to legislators and others, that's something that's easy for us to remember, and it encompasses a vast majority of issues that we deal with. So if we become known as water quality, and then also part of this resolution talks about taking leadership in nutrient loss, the nutrient loss reduction strategy. Right now, there are a lot of groups that want to do things on nutrient loss, but what is missing is that implementation part of it. And it seemed to the delegates that districts are well positioned to take that leadership role in being the local implementer for nutrient loss. So those fit well into our mission of clean water and healthy soils. So that became policy by the delegates. Clean water is what we're about, and we would use the nutrient loss reduction strategy as our go-to vehicle where appropriate to accomplish that goal of clean water. In the strategic planning process, we had the opportunity to talk with people all across the state at forums and to partners and like that, and a lot of things. A lot of times, director training and director and staff training was mentioned. The whole success of this plan that was passed, as I say, almost unanimously, is based on us taking advantage of our unique structure of having elected directors and trained staff addressing local resource concerns all across the state. And so the thought that was expressed in these forums that there is a need for us to build and enhance the capacity of our directors to provide that needed leadership at the local level and to continue to enhance the training of our staff. As I say, that was brought up everywhere that we went. And so this resolution passed unanimously. The delegates are directing the AISWCD to develop a plan to help increase the capacity of directors and employees through training. So we have I want to thank the delegates again for their time and attention at summer conference and really taking the strategic plan seriously and working on these resolutions. So what comes next? Now comes the hard part, implementing these resolutions. We have to build the structure to implement each one of these resolutions. It's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of input from people all across the state for us to be able to do this correctly. So we'll be looking forward to your help. And so as we develop these plans to bring these resolutions to life and help move forward with our mission of clean water and healthy soils, we have to remember each thing in this strategic plan hopefully points directly back to that mission, clean water and healthy soils for all of Illinois. Thank you again for everyone who attended summer conference, the training parts of summer conference. Hopefully you found that worthwhile and picked up some things. And I want to thank all the presenters who helped with summer conference and the many partners, potential partners who presented at summer conference and helped do training. There was a great turnout and very good discussion as we got to the strategic plan and setting direction. So again, thank you for everyone who helped make it all possible and those who attended. Hopefully it was worth your while.